Greetings, my friends. I hope today finds you well. Last time we were together, we looked at our practice through the lens of the meridians in alignment for autumn, very much in the Chinese medicine model. And today we continue that inquiry into autumn, but we look more through the lens of the Ayurveda model, which is very much intersects, which is what I love about looking at these traditions, because it's not that they're so different, but there are ways that they intersect. And excuse me, Ayurveda, just like Chinese medicine, talks about living in harmony and relationship with nature, living in relationship with ourselves, living in relationship with everyone and everything and the planet around us. And so we're not looking to take from things, but to be in that give and take of relationship. And we might be noticing in different places where you're living that the autumn season begins to bring up the wind and the air and the dryness as the leaves begin to fall. Sometimes we feel that dryness even in our own skin and our bodies. And the wind can also bring up the mind state and the heart of anxiety and fear. And it is a seasonal thing, but also this season, and according to Ayurveda, is very much about becoming grounded and rooted and settled and secure and satisfied. We could all use that in our lives right now. We feel a lot of unrest in our culture and in the world. And Dr. Scott Blossom said a wonderful thing. He said, do things to prime the experience you want to have. And so that speaks of our practice on the mat. It speaks of the ways that we can nourish ourselves with our foods and with Ayurvedic practices to nourish the body and the mind and the energies. Ayurveda also speaks of the winds. They move in different directions. They move up and they move down, they move out, they move in, they move around. And in the autumn, they speak about the apana vayu. Vayu are the winds. The apana vayu, which is the downward energy, the downward concentric energy, right? Apa refers to the water element, and Apanavayu moves down like water. The seat of Apanavayu is in our lower abdomen, in our colon and our thighs and our legs. So that very much is in alignment with that large intestine meridian that we were nourishing last time we were together. It endows us with a sense of grounding, safety, and satisfaction. It is critical to our digestive fire. And because it's also about the air, you can think about the lungs and the air and our breathing. Today we'll be focusing and letting ourselves be breathed here in this soft abdomen. So a sense of grounding and a deep sense of relaxation. Deep sense of relaxation. We could all use that. One of the important practices daily for this season particularly is Shavasana. Take rest, take child pose. How do we come back and ease any sense of fear or anxiety that might be being raised? There, of course, are other ways to, start our day. It's always best to wake early before the sun rises. The energies are really conducive to turning inward. And then to take care of ourselves, even in bed, to just sit quietly for a few minutes and reflect on our day and see how we want our day to go. And then there are many different oiling practices about swishing, oil pulling in the mouth, and oil for the nostrils and the ears. And perhaps we'll go into those practices another day. And then movement. It can be yoga, it can be walking, Walking is really good, right? Because it works with the legs. And our yoga practice as well, slow and steady and working with the legs. We'll be working with that today. Yeah. Foods, we're beginning to change our foods. This summer we worked with more raw foods, and we can already feel how we're beginning to warm the foods, warm the fruit even, and warm soup. And, we start to think differently, a little more oil, right? Our system is dry, so bringing more oil into our foods. So just some simple ways to think about living in harmony in relationship with the seasons and ourselves. And of course, everyone is different, and we're always different on any given day. So we have to feel where we are and feel into the qualities that we are. So, wherever you are, please make sure you have 2 blocks with you today, and you might like a blanket to sit on. And then please take a seat. So, I like to sit at the edge of a blanket or a cushion and take a look at how your legs are crossed. And you might like to lean back and cross them in the other direction. And then just wobble a little bit back and forth and feel the seat, the ground beneath you. And then settle down into your roots. Let them extend right down from the sitting bones. As the legs begin to flow out from the hips and they rest on the earth, this sacred earth. And just bring a hand to rest on the soft belly. And without feeling like you have to do the breath or bring the breath, just allow that breath to be breathed here in this soft belly. And then feel where you are. Feel this physical body. Let your awareness scan around and notice places that feel open or closed. Notice if you feel grounded or unstable. There's no right or wrong, just simply noticing. Notice if there's a sense of feeling heavy or light anywhere. Notice if there's a sense of feeling constricted or expanded. So a willingness to meet ourselves here in this moment. And then take a moment to be willing to take refuge in something really bigger than our personalities, our small selves. Take refuge in that which is awake, that's whole. And we remind ourselves from now until I fully awaken, I will take refuge in loving awareness, my true home. And you touch that place that is home, at peace and grounded, whole. And then from now until I fully awaken, I vow to take refuge in the path of loving awareness, the road that leads me home. The practices, the tools, this is the place where we do the things to prime the experience of wholeness, really. Excuse me. And because we are relational beings, I vow to take refuge in the Sangha, my teachers, my friends, my spiritual family, those who aspire to live awake and free. And so not only are we taking refuge here, but we are dedicating this practice to something greater than just me and mine and I. It is this give and take when we can come back to wholeness, our core, our center, and that is the energy that we can walk through this world, and it affects the greater consciousness. We remember we are always connected and interconnected. So from now until all beings are experienced as liberation, I will bring benefit and happiness to all, omitting none. And then once again, as you sit here, feel how the breath breathes you. And then allow awareness and breath to rest in that soft belly as you are breathed. And now please take a moment to align with your motivation. I've spoken of the collective motivation to become grounded and know our core and find balance and harmony. But perhaps there's something particular for you, your motivation for practice today. And if you'd like, please come join me as we chant the Sound of Ohm. So taking in a breath. And with your hands in prayer. Hari Om Shanti. Jai Bhagwan Namaste. And then just take a moment to let your body shift a little bit and stretch on its own. And then if you would please release from sitting. And if you have your blocks or even a book would do, place them towards the front of your mat. And then please come on to all fours. And for our yin pose today, we'll do a yin lunge or dragon pose. So take the left foot forward and make sure that the foot stays grounded. So even if your knee comes a little bit before the ankle, that's okay. You just don't want the heel to come off, right? And then slide your back leg back. And really let your belly rest there on your thigh. Your head could even relax. If it works, you can take your hands lower or onto the ground. And find the place that feels appropriate. That means feel the edge of sensation. The edge is that place, not where it really hurts. If it hurts, you back off a little bit because any more feels like too much, any less, not quite enough. And of course, edges change. And we're in the season of change and transition. So you meet the edge and then you scan around. Can the leg relax a little more, particularly that back leg? Can the hips settle in? Can even the spine relax? So scan around and be shown where you can bring a soft breath, where you can soften a little bit more. And then remember our breath. So it's wonderful to be able to use Ujjayi breath. And I know most of you with me are familiar, but it's a little contraction in the back of the throat. But let awareness again fall down into the soft belly. For those of you who might want a little more, you can even take your hand on the inside of the leg and drop through a little further. And move that left foot out to the side just a little bit. Not a have to, there's little options. And then with that breath, find the rhythm of the breath. So notice as you inhale what the count is. For some of us, we go to 4, some to 6, some more. And then let your exhale match it. We're not struggling, we're simply being breathed. And whether your hands are on the blocks or the ground, connect to this earth. Feel whatever is touching this earth, this ground that supports us and feeds us and holds us. Take another breath or two, see where the body wants to go. And then release that left leg, bring it back. Come back into your table and take a moment and press back into child. Let the torso melt over the legs. Let your hands rest if you need them, even in little fists or hand over hand. But let the forehead touch the ground. the pineal gland rests there, right there where the third eye, in that same area, that place where we helps us rest, a parasympathetic system to calm. And if you would please prepare for the other side. So once again, come up onto all fours and slide your right foot forward again. Remember, the foot stays grounded even if the knee comes forward. Some of us have that mobility in our knee, in our ankle. Find what's appropriate for you with or without blocks. Slide the back leg back. And then scan around in the body. Notice if there is any add-on tension. The muscles of the face, the jaw, the shoulders. Can the hips sink just a little bit? The lower back relax more. And then once again, bring that breath right to that soft belly. And this time, as you breathe there and you find the rhythm of your breath, you might just feel into a gathering on the inhale and a storing on the exhale. And here is we let the bones hold the body, right? This season is very much about the bones. And we know the lungs and large intestine meridians rest in the arms. You can feel how those are being nourished. And we touch into the stillness that is here. So amidst the wind and the flurry of the season and the climate in the world, there is the ground of being. Now take the last few breaths. If your body wants to go in a little deeper in these last few moments, allow that. And then to release, bring the right foot back. Press your buttocks back again into child. Allow the torso to pour over the legs. And take rest for a moment. Feel where you are. And relax. Over the next few moments, please bring your torso up a little bit. Lift your buttocks off your heels and tuck your toes. And then just press back into a little squat. And if you can, widen that squat a little bit and just rock a little bit from side to side. Squatting so good, right? Because we talked about the legs, the lower belly, the grounding sense there. And then bring it to center. Lift the hips and walk your feet a little closer. They don't have to come a little wider than hip width apart. Keep the knees soft and pour the torso out over the legs so your belly meets your thighs. Let your head dangle. And relax here for a few breaths. Just let the weight drop. Let the weight shift a little bit from the balls of your feet to the heels of your feet. And then bring it to center so you feel grounded through the balls and the heel. You might even begin to feel the strength of the legs, even though we're quite relaxed and passive. There's that ground. And then to release, soften your knees. Bring your hands on your thighs and either roll or lengthen your spine up. Come to the center of your mat. And with your feet just a little bit wider than hip width. Close your eyes. And bring your hands to rest on the belly. And invite your knees to soften just a little bit and notice what happens when you do that. Perhaps there's a little more sense of ground beneath you. And then just a gentle lengthening through the crown so we feel both grounded and long and right in your very core. And notice now, as we checked in earlier, the qualities if you feel grounded or unstable, heavy, light. Constricted or expanded in any way. Good. And then gently open the eyes. You can bring your hands on your hips. And let's just warm the joints up a little bit, just getting the bones, a little juice. So take your weight onto one foot and tuck the toes of the opposite foot under. And then just roll the ankle and the foot. So warming up the toes and the ankle. And then go the other way. And then the other foot, please. Get your weight balanced on one side and stretch the toes under. And then make some circles with that ankle. In the other direction. And then back to the center. Again, with your feet a little bit wider than hip width because it'll give you a more sense of a ground, right, and stability. And then bring your awareness up to the head. And then just let your ear drop to one side and inhale it to center and the opposite ear to the other side. And just drop your head from side to side. And then bring that to the center. And then drop it forward and lift it back. And just gently rocking it forward and back. And then bring that to the center. And then look to the right and then to the left. And again, a few times. And again, back to the center. And then drop your chin down towards your chest. And then just make a little half circle, like a smile on your chest, rocking the head from side to side. And then back to the center and inhale, lift it up, let it fall back a little bit. Just make little half circles as you fall back. If you need to support your head, do that. And then drop it back and inhale, lift it back to the center. And then into the shoulders, make some nice big shoulder rolls. And then go in the opposite direction. And then squeeze your shoulders up, squeeze, 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 and let it go. And then interlace your fingers into fists, and then just rotate your wrists a little bit. And then in the opposite direction. Good. And then bring that to center. Just shake out your hands and your wrists and your elbows and your arms. Good. And then bend your knees and just rock your knees in and out a little bit. You can even bring your feet closer together and then make some circles with your knees, because we have the knee joints, of course. And then circle them in the opposite direction. Good. And then while you're there on your knees, you can widen your feet again. And as you exhale, round your spine into cat stretch. And as you inhale into dog stretch. And then just do a few of those cat and dogs. And then let those cat and dogs move into an undulation. Like a little wave motion moving through your spine. Great. And then just roll on up to standing. Almost there. Just bring your hands on your hips and make some circles with your hips. And then the opposite direction. And then bring it back to the center. Feet a little wider than your hips, hands on your soft belly. Bring your breath back right there. Let your knees be soft and feel where you are now. The qualities that you're now aware of. And so grounded, the knees are soft, a gentle lifting as you inhale. The arms overhead, and as you exhale, just gently soften the knees and the energy is down. Do a few of those breaths, inhaling up. And as you exhale, the knees soften and the energy down into the earth. Good. One more, please. Good. This time, as you inhale, arms overhead. And as you exhale, come into a little squat. And then as you inhale, back up. And again, the energy back down with soft knees. Let's do that a few times. Inhale up. And as you exhale, squat. Bend the knees, send the hips back. As you inhale, press back up. Exhale, energy down. One more time. And into your squat. And again, bring your hand onto the soft belly. Pause and feel. And then please open the eyes and widen your stance and turn the feet out. Get grounded. As you inhale, bring the arms out. And as you exhale, once again, squat. Send the knees in the direction of the little toes and bend the elbows. As you inhale, open. And as you exhale, sink down. And again. And again, down. Pause there for a few breaths. Feel how that breath in the belly breathes you. You don't have to effort, it holds you. There's the ground and the freedom of breath, the stability right here. One more breath. Then as you inhale, straighten the legs and the arms, and exhale the arms down. Pause for a moment. And then bend one knee and bring it over towards the one foot towards the other. And turn towards the front of your mat. We'll just play with a little bit of a flow. And bring your hands in front of your heart. So both grounded and long, your knees soft. So there's really that sense of downward energy. As you inhale, let the arms gently sweep, the heart lifts. And as you exhale, soften the knees and hinge with that the knees bend so your hands can once again reach the floor. If you need your blocks, use them. As you inhale, bring your right foot back and then drop the knee. Spread the toes. It's another lunge, but there's a little different kind of energy in it now. So there's still a relaxation, but ease into it. Ground through down through the big toe. And now as you inhale, lift up, bring your arms out, and let the heart lift up. If it's appropriate, the head lifts up. One more inhaling breath. And as you exhale, bring your hands back to the earth. Tuck the back toe under. Lift the back right foot back to the left. Left foot back to the right. Come into plank. And then drop your knees, drop your chest, and drop your chin. And then slide along the ground into an easy cobra. You might like to slide your hands forward. And then press down. Drop the shoulders. Energize the legs a little bit, but feel the earth beneath that belly. One more breath. And then lengthen the torso out. Bring your hands next to your chest. Come up onto all fours. Tuck your toes, lift your knees, and then press yourself back into an easy downward dog. Keep your knees bent here. Press from your hands. And then as you next inhale, bring I think it's the right foot forward. Bring your opposite foot forward. I can't really remember, to tell you the truth. Yeah. And then drop your toes and sink into it. And then inhale, lift up and stretch the arms down a little. Let the heart lift. One more inhaling breath. And then exhale, bring your hands to the earth. Bring your right knee back. Press yourself back into child. extend your arms and release down. Take a breath or two here in this repose. And then once again, this time play with our squat a little bit. So come back up onto hands and knees. This time open your feet wider, tuck your toes, and press back into squat. Now, even if you need to, open your feet even wider, right? Or you can take a blanket behind your heels, which is always nice if your heels don't quite make it, right? And squat down. If you'd like, your elbows can be in your knees. And just think and feel into the downward energy. And let that be apana vayu. Think of that energy flowing down and the breath in the belly. One more breath here. Then bring your hands behind you to sit back and bring your feet together. Slide them in and take hold either around your ankles or the big toes. And then energize out through the knees. A little energy up through the crown. Be here for a few breaths. One more breath. And then draw your knees together. Just round over the legs for a moment. Pause and feel. Feel where you are now. And then if you would come to sit, if you're not already, at the edge of a blanket and extend your legs out in front of you. We'll do a forward fold, but I like it. I like to do it for me with my knees bent a little bit because it allows for that hinge right there in the hips. Okay. So little dog tilt, hinge, lengthen out. And most of us with the knees bent can reach for the toes or the ankles. And if not, you can take a strap, right? At this point, the spine is gently lengthened and we ease into our forward fold. Over time, with the belly still merging with the thighs, you can begin to straighten the legs a little bit. And so you play with this edge. What we're really doing also is growing our window of tolerance, right? Or a field of tolerance. You know, that place, when we are tolerant, we can feel grounded and flexible and open and curious. When we're out of balance, if there's too much arousal, hyper arousal, there's that high energy of anxiety or anger or overwhelm, fight or flight. It's kind of chaotic. You feel how that can happen in this season. But there's also the other end of imbalance where it's hyper arousal or we just shut down. And we might notice how that happens too these days. We kind of grow numb or passive or withdrawn. And so how do we stay at the edge? How do we stay grounded, and how are we able to emotionally self-regulate? And so we find the ways that prime the experience that we want to have. And so here we are in this forward fold, this grounding and nourishing pose. And feel into where is your breath now? Is there struggle? Where can you bring a grounded and sense of softness at the same time? And just as the leaves fall, is there something you can let fall away a little bit? Take another breath or two and see where the body might like to move into, wriggle into, climb into. To release, bring your hands on the ground, lengthen the torso back up. Pause for a moment. And then please come down onto your back. Bring your feet to standing and have a blanket near you. And as you come onto your back with your feet standing, find the neutrality of your spine. Let the back of the neck grow long, the shoulders slide down, and the sacrum touches the earth. The sacrum, that sacred bone, that sense of earth. And we'll go into a simple twist. So as you inhale, lift the hips and shift them to the left. Have your blanket nearby. As you inhale, draw your knees in and let them fall over to the right. Now, you can have a blanket between your legs or under or a block. You can take your right hand on the outside of the left leg and your left arm, let that extend out to the side or up near the ear. Keep your left shoulder blade on the earth. Remember the breath and the soft belly. And feel how the body can relax to the earth. A sense of security, stability. It's here to hold you. Let the bones drop. One more breath. See if you can wring it out a little bit. And then to release the right hand and inhale the knees back to the center. Bring your feet to the earth and shift your hips back to center for a moment. And then press into your feet, lift your hips and shift them to the right. As you inhale, draw your knees to your chest and let them drop to the left. And this time, let your blanket or block come under your legs or between them. Let your left hand come on the outside of the right leg and your right arm either out to the side or above head as you rest on the ground. And notice if there's an efforting and see if you can let go of the effort. And feel how the body is both breathed and supported. And out of that, there comes relaxation. And out of relaxation comes more space where you can move into. Take one more breath as you wring it out. And then release by releasing your hand. Draw the knees to the center. Shift your hips. Pause and feel. And you can either bring the soles of your feet and open your knees wide and breathe up and down the central spine, or draw your knees into your chest and open them wide. Breathe up and down the core of your being. And for a few moments, come back to that rhythm of breath and let the inhale and the exhale match. And then after the next exhale, release your hands or release your legs and allowing your body to respond for the next minute or two in any way that it feels it needs, any way that allows it to feel even more grounded and yet connected and spacious at the same time. So while we work with the element of earth, we're also working with the breath and the fire of movement and the water of, of our blood and our tears. So ask yourself what's needed now and let yourself respond. And then over the next few moments, just set an intention for this to come to stillness and find a way to take rest. If you need something under your legs or a small something under your neck, and I always recommend covering the eyes, please do so. And then take a big breath in, hold it for a moment at the top, relax as you hold. And as you exhale, let go to be held by this earth, this sacred ground. And as you rest, the Radiant Sutras, as understood by Lauren Roach, she says, as you rest with this breath, here right now, we're just with this belly, right? The inhalation, the return movement of breath sustains life. The outgoing breath purifies life. These are two poles between which respiration goes on unceasingly. Between them is every delight you could desire. Even when your senses are turned outward, your attention on the external world, attend also to the inner throb, the pulsing of the creative impulse within you. Breath flows in, filling in this moment. Drink eternity. Breath flows out, emptying, offering itself to infinity. Cherishing these moments, mind dissolves into heart. Heart dissolves into space. Body becomes a vibrating field, pulsating between fullness and emptiness. At the end of the exhale, breath surrenders to quietude. For a moment, you hang in the balance, suspended in the fertile spaciousness that is the source of breath. At the end of the inhale, filled with the song of the breath, there is a moment when you simply holding the tender mystery. In these interludes, experience opens into exquisite vastness with no ending, no beginning. Embrace this infinity without reservation. You are its vessel. In this body, you are its vessel. There is the ground, the infinite ground. Rest here. Please allow the sound of the bell to invite awareness back to feeling this body resting here on this earth. Sense of ground. And gradually invite movement back into your fingers and your toes. And then gradually draw your knees in and roll to one side. Pause for a moment. Just feel yourself now. And allow the earth to support you as you bring your hands and press up to sitting. And take your seat once again. And notice what you need to do to feel both grounded and long. And feel that sense of the earth holding. There is a sense of groundedness. And an open curiosity, a presence of being. But then reflect, go in and reflect on our time together and notice anything that stands out for you or anything you learned or became aware of, insights. And then drop in a little bit deeper to that place of knowing. You are the knower. And ask, given all that's happened here and given my life and the world, what is it I need to know and remember as I step back into the world? Is there something I need to do? And then listen inwardly. And then as the wisdom comes to you, repeat it back to yourself. And then may we dedicate the merit, if there be any merit to our practice, may it swiftly reach all beings everywhere. May all beings remember who they are. May they know peace. May they be grounded and feel safe and secure. May this reach out to touch all beings everywhere. And in this way, may there be a continual giving and receiving in our lives. May all beings everywhere know happiness and the root of happiness. May all beings everywhere be free of all suffering and the cause of suffering. All beings, omitting none. And then feel how that comes back to you manyfold. And if you'd like, we'll close with our dedicating chant. Loka samasta sukhi no bhavantu. We'll begin with the sound of Om and end with Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So join me, please. Let's begin with the sound of Om. Om. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May all beings everywhere know peace and joy and love and light. May peace prevail. And please bring your hands in prayer, your own heart, and bow to that place of wisdom and love and ground and knowing. Jai Bhagwan. And to each other, Jai Bhagwan, I bow to the light that you are. So thank you for joining me. Remember to take care of yourself, to remember that there is always a ground to come home to. Take your walks, do your practice, and until we see each other again, I send you my love and my blessings.